Well, what do you guys think about those benchmarks, huh? Pretty good, right? I think so. I did check this thing against somebody else's 5080. There was another guy on YouTube that he put his benchmarks up, with what he's running, and I was able to pretty much match his settings and came out like around the same FPS. Graphics card, it's quirky. What do I mean by that? I'm guessing like the drivers aren't quite there yet. Uh, that's the only way I can explain it, and I will show you what I'm talking about in the benchmarks. I can tell you before I had the 5080 here, I had the 1080 Ti, but for a short time I actually had two 4070 Ti Supers, and I sent them back. I had two. There was a reason I had two. The first one gave me low FPS and stuttered all the time. And then I got a second one because everybody was saying it was me. All these keyboard warriors in a group that I'm in saying that it was me, and I got a second one just to see. And come to find out, it was that card. That first card, for some reason, it just would not score good. Had low FPS. It stuttered all the time. It was terrible. Sent that thing back. Second one still stuttered, but all those benchmarks came up, and I can show you them here. What I will say is this 5080 scored a little lower against the 4070 in a game called Far Cry Primal. And what's weird about that is when I visually saw the game, when I actually saw the game with my two eyes, benchmarking it, the 4070 just stuttered. Like, you would get going, it stuttered, get going, stuttered. At the end, it stuttered. It scored real high, beautiful benchmarks. The 5080 scored just under those benchmarks, which is weird, but I am running 1080 ultra wide. In that game, the vertical sync is on. You can't disable it. It won't disable. I didn't go looking on the internet to find out a way to disable it. And maybe that's on me. It didn't matter because visually seeing it, the 5080 did superb. It was so smooth. It looked real, real good. And I was happy with those benchmark results. But on other applications, when I say it's quirky, I can load up Minecraft Bedrock and it'll launch, it'll go into the game, super fast FPS, game looks beautiful, great. I load up Java Minecraft 1.7.10 with only like 7 mods, and the damn thing will hang. Like, you're going into the loading bar and it just sits there and sits there. And you try to move the mouse, and the mouse does that jumping thing across the screen. And it's because the computer's hemorrhaging for some reason. You have no idea why. But then it just goes. And it runs beautiful. But it'll do it every time you're launching Java. Throw the 1080 Ti in the system, do the same thing. It just boots right up and goes. Very strange. Very quirky. Not sure why it is. It just is. So the takeaway from all this is it doesn't really follow suit with a lot of other NVIDIA launches. You've seen my wall of graphics cards there. And prior to this, the 4070, prior to the 4070 was the 1080 Ti. Prior to the 1080 Ti, I had the GTX 770 4GB editions in SLI. Before I had them in SLI, I only had one of those cards. Before I had one of those cards, I had a GTX 580. Before that, I had the GTX 560. Before that, I had the GTX 470. Before that, I had the GTX 295. I mean, I've had some really stellar cards, and I can tell you, it wasn't until after the 1080 Ti did all this weird behavior show up. That 4070, that was an awful card, and you're not going to change my mind about it. It was terrible. You had to literally limit the FPS to keep it from stuttering, and it was stupid. It sucked. So, oh well, I'm rambling now. This thing's quirky, superb, but quirky. Would I recommend it? Hell yeah, I'd recommend it. It's a good card. So, take it easy.